Lost Boys 3, The Thirst. This one is a lot more campy and tongue-in-cheek. From the opening sequence where a congressman is going to be bitten by a half-vampire senator who has vampire security guards. The Frog Brothers show up to confront it. Alan, the non-Feldman vampire, gets bitten. The non-Feldman Frog Brother gets bitten. They then go like forward a couple of years. Edgar's being evicted, and all of a sudden he gets a knock on his door, and it's from a woman who essentially is the writer of a Twilight-esque series of books, played by, I think it's Tanette Phoenix. For most people, she is the reason to watch this movie. She essentially is, she's pretty much the eye candy in the movie, which is kind of bizarre. But her brother's been taken hostage by DJ X, who's peddling this drug. Drug is vampire blood. So, you have a DJ hosting raves making people vampires. So you now have an army of vampires at a rave. Okay. Feldman finds out about this like blood moon that's going to happen. He decides to help her, provided she helps pay for some custom-made expensive weapons. And these are some unique toys, to say the least. You got like a Gatling gun that shoots wooden stakes, stuff like that. So that way, he could essentially storm the compound, kill DJ X, reverse all the vampires, and make his way back. He goes to his brother for help, who at this time is full-fledged vampire. And he's like, I can't help you. Go ask Michael and Star. I can't ask them since they killed Sam. What about Laddie? Laddie's got a wife and kids. So everyone from Lost Boys 1 has been mentioned right there in that little sequence. None of them want to help, Edgar at all with this fight. So what does Gwen, Tanette's character, do? She hires a reality film star who wrestles alligators and fights bears and stuff. And they're like, he doesn't believe in vampires. So essentially he's going to have himself filmed beating up rave kids with vampire teeth. So you have Zoe, who works at a bookstore, who is friends with Edgar. Gwen, Edgar, Lars, and Lars' cameraman. It's now going to storm an island that'll soon be full of rave zombies. Rave vampires. Did I mention doesn't take itself seriously yet? Edgar actually has a sword fight with one of the female vampires. It is a poor sword fight. And he gets defeated and kind of run through. And she tells him, she's like, wow, you're really bad at this. They patch him up because, it's a wound straight through him. So they're able to get him patched up. So by this time, after the initial encounter at the compound, the reality star has been beaten to death. Feldman has been run through. They finally make their way back through, and defeat some of the other, vampires, and make it to DJ X. So DJ X right now is having a fight with Feldman, who is using a sword, while DJ X has a polearm with like an axe at the end of it. He is absolutely annihilating Feldman. Then Alan shows up. So you have Vampire Alan and Edgar. So the two Frog Brothers are fighting DJ X in front of a group of rave vampires on some weird water system on an X. While Gwen's brother is in a cage with all these bags attached to him. Have I mentioned, does not take itself seriously yet. It's also like a little over an hour and 15 minutes, so this movie flies through. They defeat him through the use of essentially like an expanding resin explosive. Feldman finally gets and throws it down. And it looks like if you ever played Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and used Marrow, one of her abilities, I think it was called Tower of Pain, where she went like this and spikes came out of her back. Think of it like that. Holds them in place. They double run through them with their swords. It's like, alright, we've killed the head vampire. They're looking, probably not turning back. They're unattaching Philip, who is Gwen's brother, and someone licks one of the bags out. She's like, it's garlic. Feldman smells it. It is garlic. Oh man, they're keeping him weakened. So now, like, emaciated 13-year-old boy is revealed to be not only the alpha vampire of the group, but an alpha vampire. The vampire from 1000 AD. Yeah. I won't get to how Feldman defeats him. I'll let you watch that for yourself. So therefore, he defeats all of the vampires. His brothers now return back to normal. So everyone who has been a vampire up to that point in time is now normal. That also means, too, if he wouldn't have killed Haim at the end of 2, Haim would have not been a vampire anymore. And now Feldman has decided to finally use a Kindle and to try to expand his repertoire of fighting supernatural. He then makes mention of how female werewolves can shapeshift at any point in time. Doesn't require a full moon. And the girl, Zoe, goes, that's really interesting. Looks at the camera, and her eyes change. Thus indicates she's probably a werewolf. Will the Lost Boys be branching out from vampires to werewolves? If I had to rank the series, I would have to go 1, 3, 2. 1 is a great one, 3 is better than 2. 2 is okay, it's palpable, but it's not as good as 1, and 3, we take it a little more of a less serious approach, works pretty well too.